Hello, everyone, and welcome to one more episode of MetaCast, the podcast of the Meta-Analyses Academy. I'm honored today. I'm really excited to welcome here to the stage Jonathan Mokhtar. Jonathan is from Dubai, from the UAE, and he's here in Boston for an elective. He's going to share with us his journey as a medical student who's interested in doing plastic surgery here in the United States. And he's going to share his journey of research, of preparing himself for this incredible career as an international medical graduate who wants to do plastic surgery in the U.S. So, Jonathan, thank you so much for being here. Glad to have you on.
Oh, thank you for inviting me.
Of course. Before I turn it over to you for an introduction, I just want to remind everyone that what we're going to discuss here has no affiliation with the institutions where we work.
Yeah.
The views are our own, and they don't necessarily reflect the opinions of our employers. Also, if you want to learn how to do research and publications like Jonathan's going to share here, make sure to join the wait list of the Meta-Analyses Academy. So, Jonathan, thanks again for coming on. Do you mind starting off with a quick introduction, where you're from and your current stage of training?
Sure. So my name is Jonathan Mokhtar. I'm originally Egyptian, and I've been living in Dubai for almost my whole life. That's where I did my school, high school, and med school. And my biggest aspiration, obviously, was to become a plastic surgeon. Right now, I'm just going to complete my final year of medical school when I go back to Dubai.
Nice.
And then hopefully the next steps would be like research fellowships and then residency in the future.
In the U.S.?
In the U.S.
Fantastic. I want to start off with a topic that's going to be interesting to a lot of people, which is what's it like to be a doctor in Dubai? I mean, obviously, you're still in medical school, but you see the environment around you. And what's it like in terms of salary, quality of life, and work hours, like all these things that trouble physicians internationally, like pay, workload, and work-life balance.
I mean, yeah. So, like internationally, it depends if you work private or public.
Okay.
So the public system is almost the same, like almost similar. You have long working hours. The pay is not as well as the private system. But when you work private, the pay is much higher. Your work hours aren't as bad. So it might range, like for an attending, might range from 6 to 8 hours.
Okay.
And for residents, they don't really have residents in private, and public they do. No, residents have the same lifestyle. Like they stay for 12 to 24 hours. They have shifts and they have on-calls all the time. In terms of quality of life, I mean, Dubai has a really, really good quality of life, and everyone knows that. It's one of the best cities, I think, best cities to start a family in. So that's like where everyone's aspiration says, like after they become an attending or like after they finish residency, they wanna go and like settle there.
Nice. Yeah, I know it's somewhat become a destination for a lot of people internationally too, right? I mean, of course, in business and other things, but even in medicine, right?
Yeah, it has.
Is Dubai welcoming in that sense? Like, let's say someone is listening from Brazil and they speak English, and like, I don't want to go to the United States. I want to go to Dubai. Can they do that?
Yeah, it is very welcoming. So if, like, it depends what you mean. If you're a resident, or if you want to be a resident, or you want to be an attending.
Well, can you be an attending having done residency in another country?
Yeah, you can be. You can be an attending if you did residency anywhere else. The only thing that you have to do is, it depends on where you're trained. So, but if you're trained in the US or the UK, you don't really have to do, you don't have to convert your license.
Okay.
But if you did it in other countries, then you have to do a licensing exam in the UAE. And then after that, you can become an attending there.
Okay. Pardon my ignorance, but would someone who speaks English only be able to communicate and get around, or they'd have to, do better?
No, a lot of the doctors in Dubai don't speak Arabic.
Okay.
A lot of them they only speak English, because we have, and it's fine because we have a lot of Arab doctors. So if a patient speaks only Arabic, they choose to go to the Arab doctor.
Okay, so you could speak English only and take care of English-speaking patients in that sense. Okay.
Most of the private sector, they're all English-speaking doctors.
Okay, good. All right. So if you're listening and you don't want to come to the U.S., you want to go to Dubai instead. And then in terms of pay, I mean, obviously the salaries in private practice, you said, are higher. Let's just draw a contrast with the United States, for example. In the U.S., a cardiologist in private practice probably makes, a general cardiologist, not non-invasive, probably makes about $400,000, $500,000 a year. 400 would probably be average. Mm-hmm. Would Dubai be around that ballpark, or a little bit less or more?
It would be around there, but there's a big benefit in Dubai.
Taxes?
You don't have income tax.
Yeah.
So you get all of it for yourself.
Yeah.
So that's the benefit there.
Yeah. Awesome. No, that's great. All right, maybe we'll pack up things here and move to Dubai. All of us.
We're getting you to Dubai.
Very good, my friend. And so what drives you then to, as a medical student there, someone who grew up in Dubai and in the UAE, what drives you to come to the US for residency?
Okay, so this might be a surprise to a lot of people, but number one, they don't have plastic surgery residency in the UAE yet.
Wow.
Yeah, that's number one.
Okay, all right, so you got to come here.
So that's my aspiration. Like, I mean, ever since knowing what medicine was when I joined medical school, is I wanted to be a plastic surgeon.
Yeah.
Number two, in terms of working in other countries, it limits you. Like, if you're a resident there, it limits you. Like, you really can't come here to do a fellowship. Like, you can do a fellowship, but it's gonna be really difficult. Or you can't work in other like European countries or anything like that. But the US gives you the options for everything.
Gotcha.
And then the other thing is the training here is very intense.
Yeah.
So the training here, 6-year program, you come out of it, you're perfect at anything.
Yeah.
And that's what's driving me to.
Yeah. Well, I didn't
consider
know
this
that
one.
about the absence of plastic surgery training there. But the last reason you mentioned, which is the quality of training, one of the reasons that motivated me, and yeah, the United States, the way I like to put it, like I'm from Brazil, as you know, and it's a huge country. So you have some really good centers. Like some centers in Brazil will give you really great training, but they're few compared to just how massive the country is. But in the United States, it's like you can have multiple, like dozens, possibly hundreds of great cardiology programs all around the country. I'm sure good plastic surgery residency programs as well. So there are multiple options for really top-notch training in the U.S.
And it's been there for a really long time.
Yeah.
So it's like validated and everything. The thing with Dubai is like it's just an establishing country. Like it's been there for around like 50 something years.
Yeah.
So that's why some of the programs are not there yet, but they are like advancing really, really fast.
Okay.
So they are getting a lot of things in the UAE so far.
I think some of the U.S. programs have established like home bases in the Middle East. Any of them in Dubai?
I think so. I'm not too sure, but I think they're heading there.
Okay.
Because there's also a Cleveland clinic in
Right.
Abu Dhabi. So
Cleveland, right in
yeah.
Abu Dhabi.
it's been there for like almost 10 years.
Okay.
So I think that's the next step
Yeah.
would be to have residency like
Yeah,
connected to the US.
Yeah, obviously the American hospitals and private practices are interested in capturing patients from the Middle East. Okay, good, excellent. And I actually want to talk to you also about your preparation into coming to the United States. So you said one more year left in medical school?
Yeah, 1 more year.
So is it 6 years?
Yeah, it is 6
Dubai?
years.
Okay. And have you already taken the steps, or like what have you done in terms of preparation so far?
So I've taken my step 1 last year.
Okay.
That was really good. Getting
getting
it
out
out
of
of
the
the way. Because if I had like delayed it a year or 2 more years, I would have forgot every single thing, and I would have had gone through the basic science all over again.
It's tough. It's definitely
It is tough. It is really, really tough. Right now, I'm just trying to build my CV, like build the overall portfolio.
Yeah.
So that's why the publications, the Meta-Analysis Academy, the observerships, the electives, and all these sub-Is, this is what is going to build the CV.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking towards doing my step 2, hopefully within the next year.
Great. So you're going to finish med school with pretty much the exams almost done.
I hope.
Good. So actually you mentioned the Meta-Analysis Academy, and I'm really excited to share your experience as a student in the program, because you just completed.
Yeah.
We're recording this and you finished this just a few weeks ago. I've brought many guests who've taken the program, others who haven't.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I ever did a deep dive into a student experience in the Meta-Analysis Academy. And I think it's great to do it with you because you've just completed the program recently. So walk us through, if you don't mind, what was it like? I guess let's start with the reason for joining. You already have some research experience as a med student in Dubai. You were telling me you've done quite a bit, but you wanted to add meta-analysis to your research toolkit. Is that right?
So I had some research projects that I was doing and some that were published. I had like a few case reports and some pilot studies, but I didn't have like bigger studies. Like I didn't have meta-analysis, I didn't have systematic reviews, I didn't have any scoping reviews or like any of these bigger studies. So that was like one of the reasons why I joined meta-analysis. The other reason was that I was really bad at statistics. I couldn't do statistics. I did not understand what R meant, what SPSS, nothing, zero. So that was also the other reason. I wanted to be independent. And then when I was just looking through Instagram and asking people who were actually in the Meta-Analysis Academy, I was like, how was your experience? They're like, no, our experience was amazing. We actually like published some papers. We did abstract presentations, and we actually know how to do like a research from start to finish.
Wow, yeah.
So that was like my whole drive to join the Meta-Analysis Academy.
Yeah. I know another student from Dubai. I think Fatima is from Dubai, right?
She's the one that I was always speaking to. I was like, oh, so how did it go? She's like, yeah, it's really good.
Yeah,
And
I'm a huge fan of hers. So Fatima is one of our students, and if she's watching, hello, Fatima. She published as first author in the Journal of Pediatric Surgery.
Yeah,
I think it's probably the #1 journal in pediatric surgery. So, and I've interacted with her in that publication and reviewed the paper before she submitted. So it's really one of the highlights of the Meta-Analysis Academy.
Amazing.
And so you joined. Tell us, or tell the listeners, please, if you don't mind, what was it like to go through this 10-week experience? You know, not knowing statistics, as you said it yourself, not knowing meta-analysis before. What was it like?
Okay, so I'm not gonna lie to anyone and say it was easy. No, it wasn't. It was scary. The first forest plot I saw in the first CPT, I was like, "What is this?" I did not understand it. I was like, "There's no, I'm gonna get it in 10 weeks only." The second week, when you start introducing ideas and things like that, I had an initial idea, but I didn't know how to like dive into it.
Yeah.
So what I did was I just like still watched the videos. I went through it again and again and again. And then we had in one of the exercises, it was like give your own idea or something like that, I remember. So I gave my idea and I was like, and then after like the exercise was graded, they're like, oh, and it's an amazing idea, you can pursue it. So I was like, you know what, let me just go ahead with it.
Nice.
So that's what I was doing throughout the meta-analysis course. And then at the same time, hand in hand, I also had, Fatima was also my co-author. So she was also at the same time, she was like telling me, oh, this is how it's done also when I get stuck in something. So it was like a two-way learning thing.
Yeah. So, you know, what Jonathan just described, you know, the beginning, the phase 1, let's put it that way, of the Meta-Analysis Academy is developing your own ideas. You know, we have tons of students who are even earlier in their careers than Jonathan, first, second year, third year med students, and they develop their own ideas. So we go in the beginning for developing the thought process to create your own projects. So like Jonathan wants to do plastic surgery, you know, this is how you develop ideas and go and apply it in plastic surgery, essentially. And as he said, it's not necessarily easy. It's just that we have really the right training, the dedicated training, and the support with correction of exercises, tutoring sessions to help students be successful in that journey. So after that first phase, developing ideas, you scratched your head a little bit in the beginning. That's normal. After you had this idea and started working on your project, you had the co-authorship of Fatima. What was it like for the rest? Like that middle block before statistics, which is just search strategy and triaging and going through the literature to find papers for your meta-analysis. What was that block like for you?
So that was really good because I was really driven. So I was like finishing things really fast. So the whole like first phase is like all the search strategy or the data extraction stuff. Like I was finishing in like 1 week or 2 weeks. So now I was moving on to the next ideas before getting onto the statistics module.
Yeah.
So I can have like a couple of ideas and work through them at the same time. And that's when I developed my second idea, which funny enough, it was much faster than the first one, and I already sent it for review. And then through that, that's when like co-authorships came. So like I was a co-author in a couple of other papers, and I was like helping with things that I already knew from the Meta-Analysis Academy.
Yeah.
And then once the statistics part came in and it hit, I was like watching the R videos, and I was like, this is so confusing. And then I was like getting it, and I was getting it. Even asking people to like, okay, so is this how you do it? Is this how it's done? Is this how it's done? And then it's, that thing, if you see it once, you do it once, and then you teach it once.
Yeah, for sure.
So I did all of that, and now doing R is not a problem for me at all.
You know, one of the things that I love the most about our program is that as you open up your statement by saying it, this stuff is not easy. And I fully agree. I don't want people to get the impression that it's a walk in the park. You got to study, you got to apply yourself. But what I'm really proud of is that it's complex. It's very valuable. Like people who learn it and master it, publish in really great journals, and their career skyrockets.
Yeah.
and with the support, with the classes, with the students' dedication, that's really important. We're able to put it together. We're able to get students from the UAE, from Mexico, Colombia, Brazil, Europe, all over, and guide people through the learning process of doing systematic review and meta-analysis at the highest level. So it's tough, no doubt about it, but that's why there's value in it. If it was easy,
Everyone would do it.
Everyone would do it, and there would be little or no value in it. So you also, I want to ask more about the statistics. You told me, based on what you just said, that you're already even doing statistics with R, which is more advanced software. That's pretty good. Have you run statistics on meta-analysis, like your own projects already, in addition to the exercises of the program?
Yeah. So funny thing is, it's like my projects, like I was like doing the statistics on, and I was like learning as I go. And then the Notion page helps a lot. And then I was like, let me just try different analysis, even if it wasn't for my study. I was just like putting random numbers in and trying to do Forest Plus just to learn how to do single arm, network meta-analysis, and the pairwise. And it really helped me, because then I was just getting more and more confident. And the more I did it, I understood the basic language of R. And as soon as you understand the basic language of R, it's technically, the rest is easily done.
Yeah.
Another interesting thing is, I came last year here to Boston also, but I was in Dana-Farber.
Yeah.
I was like in a research internship, and they were like looking at R. They were teaching me some R, but when I went back and I didn't do much of it, I forgot every single thing.
Yeah.
And that's why when you gave us the choice to use either Revmin or R, I was like, no, everyone in the US uses R. Like all the research fellowships, if they see that you are using R, they'll actually be more impressed. Yeah. And they'll more likely give you more responsibilities when you're a fellow.
True.
So that was all the thought process behind it. Everything was linked back to, how can I come here and do a fellowship or residency?
Yeah. No, that's awesome, Jonathan. Congrats. And just to wrap up this discussion on the Meta-Analysis Academy, we have tons of support, like the research groups and the tutoring sessions, the teaching assistants correcting your exercises. Which one of these resources did you use the most, or did you use all of them? Like, did you come to the tutoring sessions? Like, did you do the exercises and all of this?
Yeah. So I did all the exercises. I even went to the tutoring sessions were good. Some of the tutoring sessions, I'd ask them, okay, so how would I tackle this in my own meta-analysis? And they would help it. So like that knowledge plus the tutoring, plus the lab exercises and the videos, they all come into play. And another thing is, let's say I'm doing my meta-analysis and I forgot one part. So I think it was one meta-analysis, I forgot how to do the search strategy again.
Yeah.
So I went back to one of the videos, although we were already in week 6 or something. I went back and I watched it again. And then I was like, oh, okay, that's what Dr. Cardoso did before. And that's how it goes.
Yeah. It's a great, if you're a student, if you're listening, what Jonathan just described is really helpful too. It's like when you need to do that specific stage in your own meta-analysis, you go back and rewatch that class, you're going to pick up a lot of insights that didn't make a lot of sense when you were just learning it for the first time, but now would be very valuable to you. How many meta-analysis have you done at this point? You only finished the program a few weeks ago. Are you working on 1 or 2 projects, or how many?
So currently, at the moment, 3 first authors.
Wow.
1 was already submitted, and 1 is on the go to be submitted. And the other one is just, it's a huge meta-analysis. That's why it's taking so long. And then 2 other co-first authors, and then 2 other. So like maybe like 6 to 7.
That's impressive, man.
Yeah,
that's really impressive. And today is mid-June. We finished the program late May, so it hasn't even been a full month yet. It's been like 3 weeks since we finished.
Yeah. So it was during the course, I was assisting people in their meta-analysis and like getting it done. So like we like submitted everything. And then I was also like working on my own projects at the same time and recruiting other people, and the people that were also like helping me. The people added me, I added them also to my meta-analysis.
How did you meet them?
So I have Fatima's on my college. That's one. And the other ones were, let's say, someone would be interested in research, like the interest groups.
Yeah, so those are the groups that just so it's clear to people, the groups that we formed inside this edition of the Meta-Analysis Academy.
Yeah. So some people from the research groups, they'd be interested. Oh, we'd like to join this meta-analysis, and then you'd like text it on the group. Oh, hey, anyone wants to be part of my meta-analysis?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, we'd really like to be part of your meta-analysis. Other people from other colleges, like some of my friends who are interested in plastic surgery in another another country. For example, some people in Brazil, some people in the United States, some people in Dublin. So all of them, we all collectively come together, and then we do the meta-analysis.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's one of the things that I'm also proud of, is just bringing people together from different places in the world. One of the papers that has most students from different nationalities, I think, has students from 7 countries.
Yeah,
Maybe you can publish one that has someone from like 8, co-authors from like 8 countries. But we've had up to 7 in one paper.
Oh no, I can't beat that. I have 6.
That's great. I mean, that's impressive. So that's awesome, Jonathan. And this will also be super important when you apply for the research fellowship. I just want to make a quick comment about that, because people often put all their tokens and they put all their hopes on doing research on a research fellowship, and they do nothing during medical school or outside. And I think you're doing a superb job. And you said earlier that you want to do a research fellowship to match later into plastic surgery, which is very competitive. But you're already taking the steps in that direction and building your research portfolio, your CV, so that when you apply for even a research fellowship, you're a strong candidate, as you said.
Because a lot of them are really competitive, even the research fellowships, especially for plastic surgery. And so what are you selling? Like, what are you selling for yourself? How are they going to accept you if you don't have much experience with research? So that's also one thing. Another thing is, I've met a lot of research fellows, and they told me, don't put all your hopes in the research fellowship that you're going to publish all the time. Because depending on what program you have, basic sciences or clinical, that's how you're going to publish. And sometimes IRB takes too long. So what you can do is do your own projects alone in your alone time, and have the PI as your senior author. So that's a really smart thing that they told me also.
This advice or recommendation that Jonathan just said is worth a lot, because you go to a place, maybe the research takes too long, maybe the PI, the principal investigator, goes somewhere else. IRB, ethics committee, sometimes may take a long time to approve your projects. So the best thing you can do is, even if you go to a research fellowship, also develop your own research on the side or with autonomy. And then invite the people from your lab, like Jonathan just said. Invite your co-authors, invite the PI, the group there, to collaborate in your work. We have a student here who matched into general surgery at Beth Israel, one of the Harvard hospitals, Gabriella. And she's a first year now. She's almost done with first year. And she did this. She did a research fellowship, was very successful, published a lot of papers, but she also did meta-analysis on the side and invited her attendings, to participate in her meta-analysis.
That's very smart. It's a very smart thing.
It's a good strategy. So we talked about the research, talked about the Meta-Analysis Academy. What about the rotations? Share with folks, what is it that you're doing here in the U.S., for how long, the places you've been, and what was your experience like in these rotations?
So this year, the first place I went to was Cleveland. I was in Cleveland, Ohio. I did my plastic surgery Subby, and just to be honest, it was the best experience I've ever had in med school so far. It's because it's a specialty I love, and they give you a lot of autonomy there. They're like, oh no, you scrub in. No, you do this, you do that. You close up the patients. And it felt really good. It felt like I was actually like an intern there. I wasn't just a medical student on the side, just watching. So that's one thing that really I loved about Salaries in this country, and even opened my eyes. Like, no, I really, really want to come here. So that's one. The other thing I'm doing is I'm also doing like a hands-on rotation at Boston Children's Hospital. I'm doing a pediatric plastic surgery. Now, the reason why I did that is to have an overall portfolio. It's I'm not only focusing on adult plastic surgery. No, it's focusing on peds, but still in the specialty that I want. So when I'm a resident, when I'm an intern or whatever, I can I know everything. I know everything that happens, because they deal with the most complicated pediatric maxillofacial cases. And Cleveland also deals with a lot of reconstructive, supermicrosurgery, and all of that. And so that was my experience. The other thing is having research also is a really good thing there, because then they're like, oh, so he's not only looking at just the clinical part, he's also looking at how to advance his skills, advance his analytical skills, research, and all of that. So that was also really helpful.
No, those are great institutions: Cleveland Clinic, Boston Children's. And you did a Subby, which is great. You get that hands-on experience. Did you ask for letters of recommendation already at the end of those rotations?
Yeah, I do ask, but
Yeah.
sometimes they're really busy. So
Well, they'll do it.
They'll
If they
get
said
it,
yes, they'll do it. It's just it'll take some time. But
Yeah,
whenever you apply, you have that. So that's really good. And you were telling me also that you link the research with these observerships or these rotations, not just observerships. You did a Subby too. You invited some of these attendees to be part of your meta-analysis of your work.
yeah, I have.
That's awesome.
It was a good thing. It was like because even after they write you a letter of recommendation, you are not really in contact with them anymore.
Yeah.
The only thing that can link both of you together is research.
Yeah.
So that's what I was thinking of. That was my plan even before coming here. It's like, how can I finish this meta-analysis as soon as possible so I can present it to the doctors, and they would like at least get interested in it. And their opinion matters a lot. So they're giving their opinions like, wow, okay, so I should do that to improve the paper.
Yeah.
And at the same time, stay in touch with them.
Yeah. And you did that. You presented it to them, and they liked it, and they said, for sure, let's contribute. That's fantastic, Jonathan. That's good. And you should continue to do this. Like the next papers that you do, 6 months from now, stay in touch with these guys.
Stay in touch.
Or these doctors.
Of course. So that was also the plan. Any other paper that I'm thinking of, it's like I'm obviously thinking of them. I'm like, okay, listen. So hi, doctor. So remember we did this paper together. It got published. Do you want to do another one?
They won't forget you, sir.
And they won't. They won't forget
you. And when there's a research fellowship opportunity, they'll think highly of you. Can you share what was the contrast that you've observed between doing a Subby in Cleveland, doing the rotation here in Boston, and being a medical student in Dubai? Like, was there anything that caught your eye?
So the thing that caught my eye the most was the autonomy that was given to me in Cleveland. So there, because there it's not only like the attending that's with you. No, you have the attending, you have the resident, and you have the fellow. So you have multiple people at the same time teaching you. That's one thing. The second thing is they really want you to get involved. Like if you're a Subby student and you're there, they don't want you to just observe, just stand there and observe. They want you to scrub in. They want you to learn how to do everything, like suture, close up the patient, learn the instruments. And even the nurses there, they were really, really nice. They were amazing people. And obviously, in an OR or anything, you have to be nicer to the nurses than to anyone, because the nurses are the ones who arrange everything. So that was also good, how to learn how to communicate with the nurse, how to communicate with the residents, how to communicate with the attendings and the fellows. That's what I observed in Cleveland. In Boston Children's Hospital, the only issue here is there are so many complex cases, and there are many there's more than one attending, more than one resident, and more than one fellow. And so I just observed, but observing is really good because they always verbalize what they're doing to everyone around them. So even if I'm not really involved in this, not scrubbed in, I'm still hearing everything there.
That's great. Yeah, you told me this when we met the other day before the podcast, and I was impressed too. I gotta say, even it's a Subby, so I know you function as a U.S. medical student, and you're a core part of that rotation. Mm-hmm. I was really surprised. That's good. I'm happy. I never did surgical rotations in the U.S. as a med student observer or otherwise, so I was really glad to hear that.
Yeah, it's a really, really amazing opportunity.
I wonder if it's unique to Cleveland, or if it varies among institutions, but glad to hear.
Yeah.
Good. All right. So I'm excited for the next steps in your career, Jonathan. You're going to finish med school. When are you headed back to Dubai?
I'm headed back tomorrow.
Okay. So finish medical school, take step 2, continue to publish high impact research, apply for a research fellowship, and residency in the U.S.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, it's going to be a good plan. To wrap up, I always like to ask the guests, what they do for hobbies. Like, what do you like to do in your free time in Dubai when you're not doing meta-analysis, when you're not studying for step 1 or step 2? How do you like to spend your time?
So I really love going to the gym and doing just not professional bodybuilding, but just some bodybuilding.
Yeah.
When I have the time, obviously, the past year was really hectic because it was one of the final years of medical school, and also doing meta-analysis and studying for steps. So it was really hard. The other thing, I just like going out with my friends, just having a good time.
Nice.
And I used to play basketball before.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I used to really like playing basketball, but just kind of stopped because I don't have that much time.
Got busy. Yeah, I used to play a lot of soccer, and even during medical school, But then I moved here and became a resident, and
There's no time.
yeah, life is super busy. No, that's great. So really glad to have you on. Your story is really an inspiration to international medical graduates interested in surgical specialties.
Yeah.
I'm really confident that you're going to match. We always hear people ambitious about doing residency in surgical specialties, and there's a lot of challenges along the way, but I got to say, you're doing all the right things. You did the step 1 already. It'll be very important to get a high step 2 score. Yeah. I'm sure you know that. But you're doing the publications, you're making the connections, you're doing the rotations. You're going to continue to strengthen these connections as you do more and more research. So this is it. If you guys want to learn how to match in general surgery, you can, or plastics or whatever surgical specialty, come back in 3 to 4 years and you will see. You just Google Jonathan's name, you're going to see he's going to be a resident
I really hope
in a plastic surgery program here in the US. Jonathan, so you really inspired me. A final word of advice for you to the audience, people who really liked your story, who want to follow in your footsteps, in addition to telling them to learning how to do meta-analysis and joining the Meta-Analysis Academy, what else would you like them to know?
So one of the biggest challenges I faced in medical school is I didn't really have the guidance. So no one was like guiding me towards, oh, you have to do this research, you have to do this, you have to do that. So if you don't really have that in your medical school, the best thing is to start early. Start early. I wish I started in first or second year, but I started like late in fourth and fifth year, which is still like not that bad, but still it would have been much better if I started earlier. The other thing is resilience. You're going to get rejections after rejection after rejection for publications. The other thing is studying for STEP is really hard. Sometimes you're not going to be satisfied with the scores you're getting on UWorld and all of that. And the final thing I advise is look at the bigger picture. Never look at research just, oh, no, I want to do research just to be in residency or just to get match. I need that. No, you do research to connect with doctors, maybe to go to conferences. And when you go to conferences, you connect with more people, fellows. So that's the whole point of the research. And the other thing, the point of Subbies and clinical electives, observerships in the US especially, is you gain the experience. I gained so much experience in the specialty that I really want. That's gonna I'm never going to forget, and it's going to be embedded in my mind for the rest of my life. That's one thing. And the second thing is see how the system works here, how it's different from your country, and how the attendings are, how the residents are, and see their lifestyle. And that's one thing I always tell my friends, look at the lifestyle of the attending, not the rest, not the training.
This is a really great list of advices. Thank you so much for that. I agree 100% with everything. The resilience is really important, and that you have the focus on the midterm and long-term goals.
Yeah.
Not just the immediate steps. They're important. I got to take step 1 right now, and then step 2, and then publish this paper and that paper. But I agree, the bigger picture, the long-term is the way to look at it. And I also like the advice about research is not just about the publications itself, but the connections, the groups, the network that you build as you do that.
Yeah.
I remember my own journey when you said this, that you're going to remember for the rest of your career, your experiences in Boston and Cleveland. I did a rotation as a 5th-year medical student, also 2 months, but in Miami, not here. And you're right, I remember vividly. I remember that experience even better, like the medical school as a whole. Those 2 months left a mark in my own personal journey. I did cardiology, which I loved. I ultimately became a cardiologist, learned EKGs at the time, saw a ton of consults, ran around Jackson Memorial in Miami. And you're right, it leaves a mark. I definitely encourage people to do these rotations when you're still in medical school.
It is. It really is amazing. Another thing is what I didn't realize before doing research properly is I thought, oh no, people just do research and they just publish and they forget about it. No, I learned a lot. I learned everything I knew about plastic surgery from research. I didn't have a textbook from plastic surgery to study, but everything, answering the attendings, I didn't even have to look at anything before, because I was like, oh no, I did something like that before, so I know what it is. So it really it makes them happy when you know what you're doing, what you're saying.
Yeah.
So that's one more thing that I learned about research even while doing it.
Nice. Yeah, totally agree. All right, guys, so this was MetaCast, one more episode of the podcast of the Meta-Analysis Academy with Jonathan from Dubai. Going to do a career in plastic surgery here in the US. I hope you guys learned a lot. I certainly did. I'm inspired by his story. And like I said, check back in 3 to 4 years. He's going to be a surgical resident in the U.S. Make sure to hit the like button. Make sure to subscribe to the channel so you know when we release new episodes. Check out the other ones as well. Great stories here in MetaCast. And key recommendation, learn how to do meta-analysis, even if you do other research, even if you're a PhD, if you're a professional, and especially if you don't have a clue where to start. Like Jonathan said, learn early, have the guidance, have the support. That's what we'll offer you in the Meta-Analysis Academy. Click the link here below, join our wait list. Whenever there's a new position, we'll welcome you to the team. Jonathan, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to have you here on MetaCast.
Thank you so much, Doctor.